My name is Katarina Jerotic, and the focus of my research is looking at how music and psychedelics interact. Let's talk about the interplay of music and psychedelics within ritual contexts. It's important to understand that when we talk about the interplay of music and psychedelics, this is not something that came with Western psychedelic therapy. Music and psychedelics have been used in tandem for thousands of years across a variety of contexts and across many societies. Some examples of the ritual use of music and psychedelic is that ancient Greeks and Romans used kykeon, a psychedelic drink, in tandem with music for their ritual rite ceremonies. Native Americans used peyote in their healing ceremonies. Here, prayer, songs, drumming, and dance are all used in tandem with peyote, the cactus, for spiritual, physical, and community healing. And often what you'll see is the leader of the ceremony or the traditional healer kind of starting the chants and songs, and then the rest of the community responding back to this. The next example that I have is the shamanic rituals of Mazatec Indians. So the Mazatec people are in a region that's nowadays southern Mexico. They use psilocybin mushrooms for spiritual and physical healing. However, the environment in which they take this is quite different to what we just heard. Usually these ceremonies are done between the healer and the person who seeks to be healed. There's either just them or very few others in the room. The ceremonies are often conducted in darkness, and it is the healer or singer, the curandero or curandera, who sings and recites the prayers. Here on the right, you see someone who many of you might be familiar with. So this is Maria Sabina, who was famous for kind of bringing understanding of the strong effects of psilocybin mushrooms to Western knowledge. And so the final example that I'd like to show you is actually of the syncretic church of the Santo Daime that originates in Brazil. So when I say a syncretic church, what I mean by this is that it is a mixture of beliefs. They are primarily Catholic. However, they also have elements of Amazonian shamanism and Afro-Brazilian beliefs as well. The church was founded in the 1930s, but has since grown in popularity, having over 100,000 members at this point. So they originated in Brazil, but they have since branched to several other countries. They have branches in the US, in Canada, in France, in Italy, as well as in the Netherlands. What's really interesting about them is that they are fundamentally a very musical doctrine. So they believe that the music that they produce was not made by members of the church, but was rather given to them by God. To the extent that they believe that leaders of the church, well, a reflection of their power and knowledge is how many songs they have contributed to the church. So on the one hand, they're a very musical doctrine, but what makes them additionally very exciting for us is that as a way of seeing into the eye of God, they drink ayahuasca, the psychedelic brew with the main psychoactive component, DMT. When we see this constant presence of an interaction between music and psychedelics, well, to skeptics, it's easy to say, okay, well, music must be a pleasant addition to the experience. But really, there's been an abundance of anthropological research pointing to the fact that music isn't simply there to make the experience slightly more pleasant, but really that music plays an active role within the psychedelic experience. The anthropologist Shannon spoke about music directly affecting hallucinations. For example, the rhythm of the music being able to affect the passage of time, but also in their own experience as someone who is well-versed in music, talking about how the individual instruments that were played affected what they hallucinated. A very strong theme throughout the anthropological research in this space is music guiding the psychedelic experience. And following decades of work in the Peruvian Amazon, seminal anthropologists Dobkin Derwa and Katz developed the theory of the jungle gym of consciousness. This idea that within the more chaotic, entropic state that is the psychedelic experience, music provides potential paths or routes that the participant might be able to take. For the shamans themselves, they will pick specific types of music or songs or prayers to include dependent on what the person who is taking part in the ceremony wants to achieve. I'd like to read this quote to you from Labat, which talks about music's role in the psychedelic experience of these rituals, saying, "Music activates deep emotions, produces religious ecstasy, and permits spiritual transcendence, tears down and rebuilds notions of time and space, creating the experience of a self-evident, intangible truth. Music on its own, in the absence of psychedelics, is also associated with leading to altered states of consciousness. Whether this is musicians during the creation of music entering flow or trance-like states, or for example, in religious contexts, the use of music in prayers leading to, for example, the phenomena of speaking in tongues and getting lost in a trance within the Christian faith.